All right, finished all my work. And now I can go play some video games. I can play some more Ghost of Tsushima now. All right, wait a minute. What's going on here in Twitter? President Trump says he will ban TikTok in the United States. All right, I guess I have to make this video now. Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake helping you create something awesome today, I hope. Actually, we have to talk about TikTok and, well, we talked about this 3 weeks ago and the fact that the US might ban it over national security concerns, and I told content creators that they should treat this like it's a guaranteed certainty. And here we are. Now, if you're new here to the channel, I talk about how to build your brand and business online, and that becomes important because for TikTok, it's not just a bunch of cringy videos on the internet. There are a lot of people who have used this to build their brand, build their business, and this is an income source for them. There also is the simple fact that you cannot ignore that 60 to 80 million Americans use this app. That is 1 in 5 in every Americans that uses the TikTok app. So for that to just get yanked away is a issue. It is a problem when we're talking about a platform that people use for their online brand and business, when we talk about something that people are using for entertainment during quarantine. And yes, national security concerns are valid. They are important to address, but I would feel much better if the government actually caught China with their hand in the cookie jar, caught them red-handed. Then I think it'd be easier for a lot of people to swallow the idea of just yanking this app out of the hands out of 1 in 5 Americans. That's just one man's personal opinion on this. Let's dig down a little bit further and let's really focus on what this means for the content creators, because again, that's who we address here on the channel. We talk about how content creators can build their brand, market themselves effectively, and monetize their creativity. And losing one of the platforms that allows for this, losing one of the platforms that has allowed a lot of people to break through a barrier to entry that they didn't feel they could here on YouTube or over on Twitch, over on Instagram. It's important for the creator community. It's important for the creator economy. Now, to show you how serious this is, and I'm like really doing this video in real time, I'm doing this all in one take. President Donald Trump told reporters they plans to ban the TikTok app in the US through executive authority while flying home from Florida on Friday evening. So I'm filming this Friday at 11:30 p.m. And so this is happening in real time as I'm making it. And so this is something that is important. It's owned by ByteDance, a Chinese company. And in our previous video, we talked about all of the different concerns in terms of this being a national security issue, user privacy and information, data collection. And I do share those concerns. There are people who have valid concerns about that. I am concerned about that. But on the other hand, I would love to see more actual evidence of the threat that this has, but there's a part of me that's skeptical and thinks that this might have more to do with trade disputes with China because we have a lot of things going on, or maybe it's something because of the conflict and the tension dealing with the coronavirus. Like, what is the real reason for the rush to ban this app, this social media app with cringy online videos versus all the other chaotic things happening in the world, all the other chaotic things happening here in the US? This is a priority right now. So the president says in this reporting that he could be issuing this ban and writing something out as soon as Saturday. So this is happening as we speak, and I'll let you know any other information that becomes available. If the ban goes through, we will definitely address it and make a video here on the channel. But the main thing I want to deal with now is revisiting what I talked about 3 weeks ago. Content creators have to diversify. Content creators have to be more than a platform. They have to not have the identity of being a YouTuber, being a TikToker, being a Instagrammer. You have to be a content creator above all else, and you have to be capable and able to pivot and to adapt. We saw this before with Vine. We saw this before with not the destruction of Snapchat, but it became largely less relevant when Instagram took its features. There are a lot of people that, for a lot of different reasons, have felt the need to abandon Facebook. And so you cannot tie yourself to a platform exclusively. And I think that we're finally kind of coming to grips with that as a community. Now, speaking of privacy and speaking of Facebook, when we look at what is happening here, there are a lot of people who brought up a very valid point. It seems hypocritical when you look at the data that TikTok is allegedly, and I have to say the word allegedly, collecting. And then you look at our own apps in our ecosystem. You look at Facebook, you look at Twitter, you look at Google, you take a look at this. What are they doing differently than TikTok? And a lot of people have brought that up. And I think it's a valid point of criticism when we talk about this. I think the difference is, however, that these are US entities, and we're talking about a foreign power that we have a tenuous relationship with, or rather, what's the word I'm looking for? A tumultuous relationship with. And so I think that that is where the cause for concern is. But again, I don't feel educated enough specifically to talk about that and the nuance in it. That's very geopolitical, and that's really not the focus of this channel. But the problem is that all of this bleeds over into the ecosystem of the creator economy, and the fact that there are people who are using this as a means of marketing their business or building their career as entertainers, and then also the viewer, the average consumer. They are, using this app. There are 60 to 80 million of you who are using this app here in the US. There are 330 million of us here as US citizens. So again, that's about like one in 5, 1 in 6 people that would just lose access to something that they wanted. And I'm not sure how I feel about something like that being able to be done so quickly with executive authority. I'm not sure how I feel about that being it's a private company. That feels like that could be a bad precedent down the road in some way, especially when so many of us rely on these different platforms as communication tools, as business tools. And I just really am concerned here at the fact that so many people's livelihoods can be affected overnight by something like this, in a situation where a lot of people are looking for alternatives to a traditional job, because we've seen 40 million Americans displaced in this pandemic that had more traditional work, more traditional jobs. And being able to operate within these platforms, it's an alternative. It's an unconventional form of work. It's an unconventional means of making an income. But when we sit there and we have a situation where the government wants to regulate these social media platforms, it outrightly can, issue a ban and a moratorium on certain apps. Where are people going to look to when they're looking for any type of financial freedom or financial stability? And what do we do as content creators when the rules that regard our livelihood? I mean, look at what the regulations did to family-friendly creators with regard to COPPA and how that affected YouTube. YouTube didn't want to do that. That was the federal government. And so when you have the fact that these regulatory agencies, these government agencies, I mean, we've also seen things like Article 13 out of the EU, and how that would have an impact. There's so many of these things that could just shift the entire creator economy. And there are people who literally will get thrown off of a cliff, thrown under the bus, have their livelihoods ripped out from under them. And it just seems really unreasonable that that would be the case. And I wonder why that's not being thought of. I understand that there are bigger issues when it comes to privacy and security, but I also don't think we can look at economic disruption and not pay attention to it, not now and not anymore. My advice to content creators who use TikTok is to pivot that same content to other platforms. Obviously, back up your archive, look at the formats. Look, TikTok, I understand that it's not the same with Instagram. I understand with YouTube building a competitor to it, Instagram building a competitor to it into their platforms, that you don't feel that you'll have the same community, that your audience will follow you over, and that you'll have the same feeling. But remember, the content you're making, you should really think of how this content can be platform agnostic. How can this content live on regardless of where it is. And don't be afraid to put the content somewhere else because, oh, well, I'm taking views away from TikTok. It's the same thing I have to tell YouTube content creators. Stop being afraid to take a view away from YouTube and stop trying to give everything to YouTube, and think about the brand exposure and the fact that you're getting a view on the viewer's terms, where they want to be, and they have the opportunity to consume what you create. And that's why I want more of you to become content creators instead of, platform evangelist, platform, enthusiast. Stop treating the individual platform like it's your employer and like you owe it some kind of loyalty. All right. Your loyalty is to yourself and to your audience and to the community that you're building and to making the best content you can. And that has to go beyond a platform. And so if you want to take ownership of your brand, if you want to take ownership of your business, please diversify your platforms. Please build your own bloody website. Please start building a newsletter and having direct access to your audience so that these platforms can't say, oh, well, you're out, we changed the rules, or the government decides to change the rules and it screws up the platform. You need direct access to your audience. And if you don't have your own website and you don't have your own email list, you don't own the relationship with your audience. That's the bottom line. It's one of the main reasons that I started making this content that focuses on creators in the community. It's why I don't just talk about YouTube and I talk about these other platforms. We're gonna make some videos to help some of you get started streaming over on Twitch. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about what I've been doing over on Instagram and Twitter as well, because at the end of the day, you need to be able to know you have as many ways to reach your audience as possible, because things will inevitably change. And sometimes, unfortunately, they're just gonna get worse. If you want some more advice on how you as a content creator can move over from TikTok and embrace these other platforms and direct strategies for it, I covered it in The End of TikTok, What Content Creators Need to Know. That video from 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks from today. And I will make another video if this ban really does go through, if the president decides to use this authority to completely ban TikTok from the US. I will make a direct video about it, and I will do everything I can to help creators in this transition. And I think it's important for you guys to have the right tools and strategies. I've built a lot of content on this channel to help you if you need to know how to find other means of monetization and making money online right away. There are literally hundreds of videos on this channel that can help you. If you want to become a YouTube content creator, there are hundreds of videos here that can help you. I really think that you need to just become platform agnostic. And it's going to be the singular message that I preach in 2020 when it comes to content creators is go beyond the platform. Don't just marry your biggest platform, because there's a real chance that you're building your empire on not only rented land, but on quicksand. All right. So just take that seriously. Question of the day. Do you think there's going to be a permanent ban on TikTok in the US? And who do you think is going to be a stronger competitor with, making a TikTok clone? Is it going to be YouTube? And are they going to be on top because of direct monetization opportunities? Or is it going to be Instagram? Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other awesome content here on the channel. I promise it's less ranty than this. As always, you guys, thanks so very much for watching. And don't forget, go out there and create something awesome today. Take care.